Hello and welcome everyone. I wanted to make this video to talk about the mistakes that small businesses and small business owners make that are generally easy to fix, but just about every single small business that I deal with makes at least one of these mistakes that I'm going to talk about. And I was going to title this video something along the lines of, in order to be treated as a legitimate business, you must be a legitimate business. However, that title is a bit wordy, but that's generally the point I'm trying to get across with this video. I'm going to have a whole bunch of examples of how small businesses can operate better and better compete with larger businesses and ultimately earn more money at the end of the day. Again, most of these are going to be simple and common sense. And really, when it comes down to operating a business, most things that matter are common sense. Everyone knows what good service is and feels like when you deal with a company who just does things well. So it's pretty common sense, most of these, but I felt the need to go over this and kind of explain the business theory behind these things and the specific examples that I hope will help out some small business owners. So the biggest one, the first one that I want to talk about, extremely obvious: answer the phone always, every single time. I mean, I'm not talking about at midnight or whatever. Just answer the phone and do it consistently. If you happen to miss a call, return the call. I know it's so simple, but so many small businesses do not do this. I've had so many experiences trying to hire services out, and I don't even get a call back. At my old office, for example, I built out an office space, and I needed a contractor to do this relatively large job for me, build it out. I called 11 or 12 contractors. Not a single one answered my original phone call. Not one. One contractor returned my voicemail. I left them all voicemails. One returned the call, and he quoted an extremely high price, like 3 times what everyone's estimate was. So I couldn't afford that at the time. I didn't go with them. I ended up having to go through a referral from someone who used a company regularly, and it was what the price should have been through someone that I knew. If any one of those companies answered the phone and gave me a reasonable price, I would have 100% gone with them by just answering the phone call. And this happens every single day in every single industry. On top of this, follow up ruthlessly. If you give someone a quote and they say, yeah, let me think about it, or thanks for the quote, you need to follow up with them, call them back, send them a return email. The hard part's already done. They already called your business. You're probably either paying for ads, or each lead that you get is the result of either hard work or some relationship you have. The hard work is getting someone to call you in the first place. But so many businesses, after they give a quote, will never contact that potential customer again when that return of one single phone call is so high. I did an experiment on this last year, which I have a video on, which we implemented a program with my moving company where we ruthlessly followed up with customers. Every customer was called the day after we gave a quote and 3 days after they gave a quote, and they were sent 4 follow-up emails before we ended communication with them. That way, no one would fall through the cracks, and we would get every single potential customer we could, and it increased sales by a large amount with not that much work. It was fairly easy to implement and absolutely worth the investment, and we still do that to this day. I've done a lot of experiments on my business, and that is one of the most profitable and easy return on money experiments that I've ran, and it's just something that's so obvious. Again, the next one, have an online presence. In this day and age, you pretty much have to have a website if you want to look reputable. Unless your business is just based on referrals, you can get by without a website. But in order to expand, you're going to have some kind of website, and just make it simple. It doesn't have to be crazy. I personally have all my websites now made by just hiring someone on Fiverr. I'll have a link in my description where you can get a discount if you haven't ever used Fiverr before, but I use it for literally everything. For literally $100, you can have a decent website made that, if you have no experience making a website, would take you 40 hours to make. I stopped trying to make them myself because I could make a half decent one myself, or I could spend $100 and have someone make a pretty awesome one. Just be aware that if you're going to do that route, you're going to have to do a lot of explanation, because a lot of the people who are making these, English isn't their first language, so you're going to have to be very thorough and detailed in explaining what exactly you want, but it's very possible to have them made extremely cheap. And yeah, I'll have an example down below of a website that I made for $100. It's crazy what you can do for $100. On top of this, have a Google My Business page. Many businesses don't do this, and Yelp seems to be waning in popularity, and Google reviews are getting more and more important. So make sure you have Google My Business and use that as your social media for your business. Any decent pictures of your work or anything like that, post them on your Google My Business. Ask all your customers to leave reviews there. Use that as your social media. Extremely important. The next one, show up on time. Again, another obvious one. Everyone knows what good customer service is and feels like. Show up on time when you say you're going to be there. Show up 10 minutes early. This is because whenever you hire a service, you can pretty much guarantee with 80-90% certainty that they're going to be late. By just showing up when you say you're going to show up, you already stand out way more than pretty much everyone else. And this is something that even large businesses are horrible at, is showing up on time. But it's something that's so easy. It's just following up with the expectations that you set. Similar to this is finishing the job when you say you will. Customers, especially if you're a service business, are hiring you because they don't want to spend the time to do that thing. So if you can make their life easier by finishing that job when you say you're going to, and do it promptly, it's going to be money well spent for them, and they'll potentially use you again. They'll refer you to friends. Think about why people are using your service or your business. Again, for services, it's generally to save time. The biggest competitor to a service business is someone doing it themselves. That goes especially for moving. Now that things have slowed down in the economy, we're not as healthy right now in the economy as we used to be. Our biggest competitor is people saving money by doing it themselves. So the people who do hire us, that value proposition is still there, where it's worth them to spend a few $100s to have a moving company come and do it for them, instead of doing it themselves and spending all day and hurting their back, picking up a couch or whatever. That value proposition is still there. So we put that extra emphasis on making their life as easy as possible to get that service done in a high quality manner. And this goes for pretty much every single service business that I can think of. Always flip things and think of either why people are hiring you or why someone would refer you. How can you make their life easier? What do they want? When I think again about my moving company, people don't generally want their furniture moved. What they really are buying from a moving company is the comfort of not having to do it themselves, or the ease of not having to do it themselves. So always flip things. The next one, real simple, be clean and dress professional. This is one of the things that I think of when I'm trying to make decisions for my business is, what would an extremely large business do? An extremely large business would always show up on site clean and in uniform. So you should too. People love the professionalism of a clean, tidy look, showing up on time, in uniform, looking the part for the job you're going to do. Yes, most people don't care if you show up a little bit dirty or whatever, but by doing all these little things, they add up. That builds your reputation. That's what enables you to become bigger and bigger. The next point. This is crazy that we have to bring this up, but this has happened to me several times recently. Accept credit cards. It's so easy in 2020 to be able to accept credit cards. Use Square. I think that's the easiest one to set up a payment terminal through. I know Stripe is pretty good too. I don't have personal experience with them, but Square is super easy. I've dealt with a lot of small businesses recently that only accept Venmo or cash, which Venmo is fine if you're dealing with personal buyers. Most of them probably won't care because it doesn't really affect their taxes or anything like that. But especially if you're dealing with businesses, accept check or credit card, ways that businesses pay. Just accept a variety of payments, really. It's easy enough to do. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Just accept credit cards. You'll get more business. The next one, kind of relating this, give receipts. Do I really need to explain why? You just look more professional. You have records. They have records. You have a physical item that if there's ever a complaint or a chargeback or an issue with your job, you have, hey, you signed this receipt, you said it was done at the time. You know, if you're in business long enough, people are going to try to take you to court and try to say you didn't do something that you did. It just happens as soon as you start seeing larger numbers of customers. We deal with about 1,000 customers a year, and you know, a few of those every single year are shitheads. And you know, you deal with things, so you have the proof for it. I have GPS on my trucks. We can track everything that is done. We have signed bills. We're always able to back up what we say we did and bills. And you know, if things go to court, generally there isn't an issue. Moving on. Think about why they're choosing a small business. Many people choose small businesses specifically so they don't have to work with large businesses that don't care. Most people choose a small business because they want quality, personal touch, and customer care. If you can't do that, there's really no reason for someone to choose your business over a larger one. People will pay more for a little bit more personal touch and quality, and that's really where you want to be with a small business. You want to be in the mid to high range pricing so you can actually get a decent return on your work, on your money, and earn more. Again, what I said earlier, last point, think like a large business. This encompasses all things. When you're making a decision, think, what would an extremely large business do? An extremely large business would have all their licenses and insurance and everything in place to look professional, to service their customers the best they possibly can. Finally, actually one more bonus point. Thank your customers. This is something that a small business can do better than a large business. Send thank you cards to every single one of your customers. Call them and say, hey, thank you for using our service. Is there anything we could have done better that we can do better in the future? People appreciate this. People remember that. And it really goes a long way. We mail every one of our customers a thank you card in the mail with a couple business cards, and they put them in their drawer or whatever, and then as soon as a friend says, hey, do you guys know a moving company? Oh, we got this in the drawer right here. Over time, these things all build up, will make your business more professional, and you will stand out eventually over time. And maybe you can take that small business of yours and eventually turn it into one of the large businesses in your industry. But you're not gonna be able to do that unless you keep an eye on and take care of all the little things. So that's it for my rant today. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.